Hey there, folks. I'm Isaac, and I killed a bloodthirster.
And I'm Claire, and I have a vending machine in my mouth.
And this is Make
Make that
That Game
game where we pitch the latest
the greatest
new video game ideas.
that aren't going to get made.
Yeah, probably not. So, Isaac, what have you been up to lately in the gaming sphere?
All right, well, um, a little peek behind the curtains. If you are not aware, it has been 2 weeks
Oh yes, we should address that.
since the last episode. There was some sickness
Yeah.
and some just timing issues. So I've got 2 weeks of gaming endeavors and possibly news to talk about. So I played a little game from itch.io called
Mm,
Lords of Soulgrund, which is a city builder kind of dealy.
you
Uh,
love that
very,
stuff.
I love city builders. So I got Lords of Soulgrund and I played it a little bit. It was pretty interesting. I'm not going to honk and bonk it, at least not today, but fun little 90s style game. It's in active development. Pretty cool. Liked it, enjoyed it. I also bought and played Warhammer 40k Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, which is a mouthful.
A
That is the
Kirby
game,
mouthful.
a Kirby mouthful. This is a lot darker and bloodier than Kirby, so I don't think he would want the mouthful. There's a lot of stinky demons, and I don't think they taste good. But I played it, and it was utterly ridiculous, and I might honk and bonk it at a later date. At least in its current incarnation, I couldn't recommend it. I played it for like 45 minutes, and the production value was not super high to the like. Here's a complaint. It's a non-gameplay kind of complaint. Animations would start during like a screen fade out, like a screen transition, and then you would see like a little bit of the animation, and then it would be abruptly cut short. So like for a 0.5 second animation, you'd actually only see like 0.25 seconds of it, which that's silly, and I hope that they address that in like a early bug fix. And they might have already done it, but I haven't touched it again since. I also got Ayuden Chronicles Rising for the Switch because I saw a description of it and that Wolfpack game idea that I pitched a couple days ago or a couple episodes ago. It sounded like it used that gameplay mechanic that I couldn't explain, where like different party members can combo together. I haven't gotten to the point where I have another party member, so I don't see how similar this is to my vision yet. But that's a fun little action RPG kind of game. And finally, for the things that I've been playing, I also played Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion for
Woo!
myself. And
Wait, did you finish it?
I did not actually
Okay,
finish it.
got
I
really close.
I got really close in one sitting, but I haven't touched it again since. I'm probably like 30 to 45 minutes away from completing it. I was just dashing through, doing everything. I missed one scrap of paper that I need to rip to like get the true ending. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
all right, here's some news I want to talk about.
Okay.
So there's a company, Nippon Ichi Software, which makes like these uh really mechanically in-depth, grindy, like tactical RPGs. Like some famous ones that people might have heard of are like the Disgaea series, which is most famous for its little demonic penguins. They're basically the mascots. But anyways, they've had these two games that were previously only released in Japan, and I believe only released on handhelds like the PSP or the PS Vita. Makai Kingdom and ZHP Unlosing Ranger versus Dark Death Evil Man. Both of those are now out on the PC in remastered versions. And if you like
Pina
very
coladas.
if you like pina coladas, I recommend you check those out. But yeah, how about you, Claire? Have you been doing any gaming or news in the last 2 weeks? Have you been doing any news, Claire?
I do all the news all the time. I have been gaming, not as much as I would have thought I would have been, but here and there. So I've been doing, I guess Lila's Sky Arc has been my main focus the
Yes.
past 2 weeks. Um, and I watched Isaac play Turnip Boy, which was really fun for me to do because I haven't played the whole game in a long time. And I think that might just be my favorite game. I think that might just be.
Oh wow.
It's so good. It's short and it's funny and it's cute and it's just so good.
It checks every box.
It ticks every box. I did also dip my toe into Animal Crossing. Just
Oh
a
yeah?
just a quick little island visit so all the animals can yell at me for being gone for so long. So that was nice, I guess. I mean, I didn't do very much, but it was just like I just wanted to check in, see what's up on the island. And then the final thing is you and I have been playing Kirby quite a bit together. And I think
Yes,
that's
we
really
have.
fun. I've been having a good time playing that, and I'm hoping to do it today. Actually, I was going to suggest it
Oh,
as
well,
an
we'll
activity.
see if we can make that happen.
Yeah,
I
but I
don't
don't
know
have
if we can fit it into the schedule.
yeah, I know, but I don't have any gaming news that I'm aware of.
Ah, dang
Well,
it.
I can share news that you told me but haven't shared on the podcast.
Oh, yes.
Is that the Summer Games Done Quick, or SGDQ, as the ones in the know would say, is doing didn't you say how many back-to-back Elden Ring runs?
Oh shoot. It was 3 or 4, I
Yeah,
think.
so I will enjoy watching that, I think, even though I don't play Elden Ring. Um,
I know that they do some really silly things
I
in
mean,
Elden
I've
Ring
already
runs.
seen like a bunch of like silly Elden Ring videos and just like it's really funny. So, yeah, I think that's going to be hilarious and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I gotta mark my calendar for that. I gotta re-look up when exactly that starts.
So
I don't
funny.
know
You
if you
say
just said.
calendar like you're from Minnesota or Chicago.
Well, some of us have secrets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of secrets, you haven't told me what game you're going to honk and bonk this week. Do you want to reveal?
I am going to honk and bonk a game called Banners of Ruin by Montebearo, and that is Montebearo, like the animal bear, which is, I don't know if this is an intentional thing, but this game is about anthropomorphic animals, including bears. So I don't know if the game company came first or the game, and then they named their company after the game. But anyways, it is a card-based, I would say, roguelite RPG, in that you
Now,
have,
sorry, was that light with a
that
T?
was T, that was
Okay,
light
light.
with a T.
I think you have to, yeah.
And so you have a deck of cards. You have a party of animal characters, and each run is kind of like randomly generated. You
So
have
this is a card game, but it's online. It's a video game.
Yes, yes. So,
Or why?
well, because some people like it. Have you ever heard of Hearthstone? Very popular card game
Truly have not.
online.
Truly
Oh,
have not heard of
okay.
that.
Well, it's just mechanically, it's cool and fun to
Mhm.
have a deck of cards to determine like what actions you can perform, and that's basically how this works out. So like you can have a card in your deck called Slash, and instead of like your mouse with a dagger having like a basic attack that they can always do, you have to draw like the Slash card or the backstab card or
I
whatever.
guess the idea of drawing cards just feels like an extra step to what a computer already does. Like by randomizing events, that's what a deck of cards
I
does.
mean, it's
but,
literally, yes.
but you
It
don't need to do that when you
it's
have the
literally
computer.
just showing it. It's it,
Okay.
it's just how it presents it to the
All
player, because
right.
you're right. On the backside, all it is like randomly picking certain things that you can do. But yeah, it displays it to you as a
Okay.
cards. And then
All
that's
right.
also how you as the player interact with like setting the probabilities of you getting each action. Like if you have one sword fighter and like 3 guys with big maces, then you aren't going to want a bunch of sword-based cards in your deck. So you're probably going to lean towards a bunch of like bludgeoning or generic-based cards.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of guys with maces that can't do anything because you have 5 sword attacks and your sword character is only limited to a certain number of moves. But yeah, that's Banners of Ruins by Montebaro, and the honks that I have for it is the difficulty was very well tuned for the most part. There are bosses that you can fight that are insane, or bosses and certain combinations of enemies that are just seemed wildly out of whack. Like I'd be doing great. I'd have like this OP combination of cards where I was basically unkillable and I'd end things in one turn. And then I'd fight the boss and the boss would just be, or not even a boss sometimes. Like it would just be like a random, like I guess elite encounter. And it would just be like, by the way, we have your combo, but also better. And I'd be like, no, and they would just wipe me out and end my run early. But for the most part, every battle offered interesting challenges, and every run was kind of like a unique gameplay experience, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Second honk is that each card that you gain during a run did lend themselves to certain play styles if you focus correctly. So like I was saying, like you could get a bunch of swords and daggers and stuff, and there was cards that focused on that. And you could get cards that would like increase damage, or cards that would increase like self-healing, et cetera, et cetera. So like oftentimes you got to pick specific cards out of groups of 3, and you would be able to like pick cards that would help your specific play style. Or you could scatter around, and I never do the scatter around, so I don't know how good that actually is, but it's nice to be able to be like, oh, if this card combos with this card, and this really strengthens the way that I'm already playing this character, so I got to get that card. That'll be awesome for my deck. That's a fun little design, and I don't know if it's actually weighted in the programming to be like, hey, if they already have this card, give it a slightly higher chance of giving this next card.
Mhm.
And if they do that as like a planned form of progression, or if I just have like confirmation bias, like this cool thing happened to me, so it's well designed.
Uh-huh.
Third honk is that there are permanent gains that you can get. Like, so even though each run is kind of an individual thing, you still have this external like player level basically.
Oh,
And
did you
as you
say gains?
gains,
Okay, I thought you said games.
gains.
And I was like, ooh, the collectible is like in-game mini games, but no, okay,
No.
continue.
So like me as a player can be like level 5, and that unlocks things that you can permanently use in future runs, where each individual run, like your characters have different levels. They all start at level 1, I'm pretty sure. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So as I play a run, even if I get completely trounced by a certain random battle, I still gain experience, and by gaining experience, I can unlock new character types and new cards that I can discover in later runs, and just these permanent things. And if you go to like your status screen on the main menu, you see what level you are at and like what the upcoming rewards are. So you're like, oh geez, I really want to unlock that wolf character, so I'm going to play. Oh, it looks like I only need 3 more runs to do it, so I'm going to play 3 more runs. And then you get the wolf character, so obviously you want to play the wolf character, so then you play a 4th run, and then you see that the next unlock is like a cool mace or something, and you're like, oh, I gotta get that, let me play 6 more runs. So I think that is, I think it's a well-designed way of like encouraging people to get that just one more turn kind of gamer rush. So on to the bonks.
Okay.
I kept acquiring a lot of the same cards in individual runs, which I did not find that exciting or thrilling. After the 4th, very niche micro card that does an effect that you barely use anyways, you're just kind of like, wow, I really would have just preferred a slash. At the same time, sometimes I also got the same good card like numerous times. And every time I got one, I was like, all right, gotta throw away one of my junk cards and get this really good one. But I think that's just because at a lower level, you don't have access to like the full breadth of cards. So at low levels, you probably just get a bunch of copies because it doesn't have enough unique ones to give you. But probably as you level up, it opens it up and you get a lot less duplicates. But I just was was not super thrilled getting the same cards time and time again. And it also, this leads into my next bonk, which is kind of just the same bonk. Deck building didn't get super duper interesting because, like I said, it would either be a bunch of duplicates of cards that I didn't really like and so wouldn't use, or a bunch of cards that I super liked, so I would throw any other card out to get those cards. So it, at least early on, it's like super obvious, like, oh, this card that interacts with the mouse's inherent ability and applies a bunch of bleed tokens, so enemies take super huge amounts of damage. Yeah, I'll take 6 of those because all my characters can use it. It's amazing. And then my final bonk is that each run is like a course. It basically is like 3 streets, and you pick which street or alley that you go down, and each one has a number of challenges for it. So basically, before every like fight, you have 3 choices. And sometimes it's not a fight at all. Sometimes it's like, oh, you can run into the sewers and avoid a fight, or you can like duck into the shop and buy items, or you can go into this inn and get healed. But you're always presented with 3 choices. I found that a lot of those 3 choices would sometimes, like, I would sometimes come into a point where there was a lot of downsides or trade-offs that would just hurt me for the rest of the run, where it would be like, oh, you can either fight this enemy group, this elite enemy group, or you can get robbed by a street kid and he steals one of your cards. And I'm like, what? I don't want to do any of these right now. I need a little bit of healing. So like, oh, get robbed by the kid to not have to do a fight, so you get a chance for healing in the next round. Or, you know, you're taking the risk of that kid stealing your best card. And you're like, no, I can't lose that card, so I have to fight the enemy. And then, oh, this enemy combo actually kills you because they have the super strong stuff. Run over, start again. And then in addition to that, the courses I felt were very long. I think it's only like 10 total choices, but because each combat is very in depth, that ends up being like 2.5 hours, at least for me. I'm sure other people are much faster with it, but it's like Binding of Isaac is kind of fun because runs take half an hour to 45 minutes, like even if you win, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like you'll have like a
I
bunch of
couldn't
like
last in a run on that for more than like 5 minutes.
yeah. A lot of the times, like you'll either die super quick or, you know, make it all the way through and it's not super long. But then you have this game where like each combat can be super long, and sometimes the odds can turn at like the very end of it. So even if you're doing like a short run, I feel like the shortest run that I had was still like 30 minutes, and that was like 2 or 3 combats before I just like got completely punched out. But yeah, that's Banners of Ruin by Montebello. I recommend. It's super fun. And yeah, I would like to know if you have any honks, bonks, or anything in between for a game for me to listen to, Claire.
We don't really do anything in between. That's not on the
No,
list.
I know we
No.
don't actually do that.
No, but I
I
do.
don't know why I
I
said
will be
that.
honking and bonking. Lila's Sky Arc. So this is a game.
Ooh.
It's by Monolith of Minds. It's published by Graffiti Games, which also published Turnip Boy, which is how I found out about this game. It's very new. It was just released a couple weeks ago. So it's kind of interesting for me to play a game that's like brand new too, I think. Um, and yeah, we're gonna jump right in and honk and bonk it. So I was talking to Isaac before recording, but I'm gonna preface this. There might be more bonks than honks. That doesn't mean it's not a cool game. But it's just there's like it's a very kind of traditional game in a lot of ways. So like um if you like Link's Awakening, you'll probably like this game. It is very Link's Awakening.
And if you don't like Link's Awakening, I don't want to talk to you. Link's
I don't know
Awakening is
why you're
the
even
best
listening
game.
to this show. All right. So the first honk, actually, I thought of this when Isaac pointed this out to me, and I thought this was so cool. Is there's a little arrow on your character that points to where you're going at all times.
Which is such a useful mechanic. Yes, because a lot of it is about like throwing things. So you
Yeah.
definitely need to know what your direction is. So
And like
just amazing.
the view is very zoomed out. Like it's you can't it's hard to see the character's face, so this like really helps. And it's not an obtrusive arrow, like it's a very like subtle like it's not like bright neon like flashing. That would be very annoying. It's very like it's nice. It's a good arrow is what I'm saying. And a good arrow can make all the difference. So I do really like that. The other honk I have is that it's very surreal. And the example I'll use is there's one puzzle where basically there's like this giant bee, and you have to pick up the giant bee. And if you put the giant bee on a nest, then it will make little bees come out of its little tummy, which is creepy and weird.
That's how babies are made. That's how
Yeah.
bee babies are made.
And then those little bees will move platforms on in the game that you can like walk on and stuff to cross
That
long
makes sense to
distance.
me. That's what I use bees for in real life, actually.
So like figuring out how to move like moving platforms, I feel like that happens in a lot of games. Have I ever encountered something this surreal though in order to do it? Absolutely not. So like I would say that in this game I have not encountered a situation that I've encountered before. And again, like in mechanic wise, yes, like pick it up, like throw like figure out how to climb this thing, figure out what like the puzzle to move these blocks, whatever it is, like yes, but like the setting they've put you in is so unique, and kind of just adds a lot to the gameplay. And then my final honk, I had another one. I feel like that might be it though, because that was like the surreal part is kind of I guess it was the looks, but like the surreal part really is like the setting,
Yeah.
which makes it kind of be like that. Oh, I remember. So it's so like Isaac mentioned, most of the game is throwing. That's not the honk, but the honk is that the projectiles you can like get or make are really interesting. Like I like their individual mechanics. There's some that are pretty traditional, but then there's others that are more interesting, like a big vine that like stretches out and like stabs somebody from a long distance away, or like little like laughing faces that like bounce back and forth into people, like those kinds
Those
of
are my
things.
favorite ones.
So there's like a lot of like unique, and I'm sure there's many more I will discover as I keep playing, a lot of unique projectiles to use in combat. So that's kind of fun too. Like it's not just like you got a sword, you got a bow and arrow, you got like there's a lot. So that's cool too. So those are my 3 honks. Now on to the bonks. So my first bonk is gonna be that like the whole game is based on throwing. So it's very hard to actually get enough materials to fight a battle.
Yep.
Everything is specifically like, I guess, consumable, you could say. So like once I throw a rock, that rock has been thrown, that rock is done. It costs, you either have to find things in the wild, which honestly there is not a lot of. Like it's not easy to find these projectiles out in the world. But you can make them. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, especially if they're anything more basic than the little blue rock, it seemed like from watching you.
Yeah, the rock, like the traditional rock, like I think it's called a stone soul, is that's like the most common one, but even that, like it's not like you can find it all the time. And so like those are really hard to find. And then but you can make them. So there's like machines that you can use to make them. You have to buy a recipe to make them. And once you have the recipe, you have to pay to make them.
Capitalism, ho!
Yeah, and I just feel like but money is hard to come by. Like you're getting that their money is called harmony. So you're getting harmony like, you smash a pot, you get like 5 maybe. And a recipe costs like 170 harmony.
Okay, lots of grinding.
Yeah, and also like they're consumable. So like I could spend, like 70 harmony making bombs and then and then that's 7 bombs. And then I use them all in a battle and then that's it. And then I have to go like get more money and like it's just there's no infinite weapon. There's no like there doesn't seem to be a way to make like money faster or more predictably. There is like a oracle type person that I finally discovered how she works. And she'll sometimes give you like 50 to 100 harmony, but also sometimes she just gives you like a collectible, which I'm like, okay, I don't care
Now, when
about
you say
that.
collectible, is that just like a cool little like, oh, you discovered this nice
Oh no,
thing?
so I always think about like every game seems to have collectibles. Am I wrong?
Most games do,
Yeah.
I would
So
say.
in this game, the collectible are eyepieces for the character called Father Doctor, who's
Father
just
Doctor Sir.
who just has like one big eye, and so you can get like sunglasses and like eye patch, or like that's what you get. That's the collectible. So it's like, oh, you got pirate patch, and I'm like, great. I really wanted money though, so I could
Yeah.
like do a boss battle, but okay. Um,
Hmm.
and then the other bonk, which is like super tied to this one, is like in order to throw things, you have to literally pick it up and then throw it. Like you cannot constantly equip it. So say I have a backpack full of like 20 rocks. I have to literally press X to get the rock out and then press Y to throw it. And then press X to get another rock out and then press Y to throw it.
Wow. Yeah,
And
that
then
that's annoying. That's a little clunky, but I
and
I
then
guess I'm wondering like how else could they have done it? But I guess
just
if
have
you
it
have something equipped, like it's just
just
out.
have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um I mean it's not the worst, but it's just like in a battle, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then like they do this, and this is connected to this bonk, but like for health, one also very difficult to find. Also, in most games, like Turnip Boy, Link's Awakening, which this game obviously is like emulating, you gain hearts as you go. So like your health bar capacity increases as you beat bosses. So
Mhm.
as the game gets more difficult, you also get more health. This has not happened. I have beat 2 bosses now. I still only have 4 petals to work with. That's not very many.
Oh
And they don't
wow.
and they don't they never decline halfway. It's literally like you get hit by one thing, that's it. Now you have 3. Um
Yeah, because even
yeah.
in like Link's Awakening, you start with 3 hearts, but some attacks only do like a quarter of a heart.
Yeah, and then like you immediately find more. So
Yeah.
yeah. And the health itself is really hard to find. And when you do find it, guess what? You have to pick it up and throw it to use it. So you can't just like walk through it. You have to literally equip it
Yep.
and then use it. And it
Which
takes
can
up
be
space in your
frantic.
backpack. So it is that part I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's just I'm hoping it gets easier as I keep playing. Honestly I did kind of want to like play a little bit more before I honked and bonked it, but I don't have anything else to honk and bonk. But still it's really hard. And then I don't know, this is also I just guess tied to this bonk of like this clunky kind of control is so I just got the jump ability, but in order to use it, you have to hold down the B button. You can't just jump, you have to hold it down. So it's just like,
Hmm.
it's just not smooth to me. Um,
Yeah, it seems like it suffers from a little bit of clunkiness and controls.
yeah. So I guess that's the game. So, I mean, again, overall, I really do like it. I think it's totally fun to play. I get into it. But there is some definite grinding happening. And, I actually had to have Isaac help me with a battle recently because I just could not pass it and I was getting so frustrated. I had played it like so many times and what the issue was really that I kept just running out of projectiles. You could like get more during the battle, but once my backpack was empty, it's so much more challenging.
I think literally the only difference between my attempts and yours was that I would frantically mash the button, like have like 2 dozen
Right.
items on the ground at the like start.
Which was a good strategy. So,
Yeah, but like it was literally you were just running out of resources where I was just stockpiling an obnoxious amount of resources. Like I was ignoring the fight itself to like just make sure that I had a bunch of resources and then I would go into the fight and do it. But
Yeah, but even then it was like because there's so many, you would pick up ones you didn't know what you were picking up.
oh
I
yeah,
remember
because they
that.
were all stacked on top of each other because
Yeah.
of how the resources like get dispensed. Yeah. It'd be like I'd pick up a heart piece when I really needed a bomb in that exact moment, and I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
don't need heart pieces.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's Lila's character. So very interesting. Oh, I will say, and this is kind of a bonk, but I think it might get better. This is kind of like a wait and see, but the story is so hard to figure out. Like it's supposed to have something to do with music,
There's
but
an evil empire, right?
yeah, and things are like out of balance. And every now and then, Lila, your character is like remembering things about like being underwater, but we're in the ocean. We're in the ocean. We're in the sky. And then
Huh.
there's like giant animals and like animal spirits, but there's also like evil musicians. So I'm not really sure what's going on. But
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe it'll all come together. Maybe there's a big moment of truth
right.
reveal.
So I don't want to say that's a bonk yet because like I haven't finished the game. You know? I mean, Link's Awakening had a big reveal, right? So who knows?
Yeah. I love Link's Awakening so
Yeah,
much.
it's
I'm just
okay.
gonna say it.
We should all replay it.
Yes.
All of us.
Every single one of us. Folks, replay Link's Awakening and then
Yes.
email us about it.
Yes. Oh, speaking of emails, before we move on to our own pitches, we have some listener mail.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's dive into that.
Let's dive in. Gotta load it.
I have a listener pitch that I received that I was going to when you asked me about my pitch, I
Oh,
was going to be like, "Oh, actually, I have this one to do first."
okay. Well, sorry.
No, 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 it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. So Meganos says, "Hello, Make That Game podcast peeps. Loved the episode yesterday." This is referring to our last episode, which was 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, shoot.
um, and the shout out to the Samantha fiasco. So Megana, actually, that was the Samantha fiasco I talked about when naming my characters. Um, Megan says, I pretty much always name the character I play as myself. Sometimes, if there aren't enough characters, I go with Meggie, or if it's a male character, I go with Milo because I love the Phantom Toll Booth. Now, I play a lot of farming sims, and you have to name animals. So I go with genres of music, like a sheep named Funk, a cow named Bossa, a chicken named EDM, etc.
I like the chicken named EDM.
And
That's
it's also,
actually
yeah, and Megan specifies that this would be spelled like Eden M, like it's like Eden, like an actual name.
oh, okay. I
Yeah.
like it.
Naming Pokemon, on the other hand, is a free for all. There's no rhyme or reason why one is named Twiggy and another is Shuxlar. She said,
Uh,
"You figure out how to pronounce that, lol." So I
nope.
tried my best.
Schluxlar?
That's
Can
what
you
it looks
spell
like to
it?
me. Yes, Shuxlawr.
Nope. All right.
Yeah.
Moving
Um,
on.
yeah, but Megan also had a question for us.
Oh, we love questions.
She usually always names the character after herself. So this was in response to our episode where we asked, like, how do you name your video game characters? And wanted to ask us why we don't.
Why we don't name our characters after ourselves?
Yeah, because she was surprised that we both choose not to name characters after ourselves. So Isaac, why don't you name your
So,
character after yourself?
when I first started gaming, as a very young child, I am pretty sure that a lot of games had a 4 character limit, and my name is 5 characters.
Oh, okay.
So I mentioned it when I was I picked the name Duck in all capitals, and I've used that ever since. It was because the game I was playing had a 4 character limit, and I thought Duck was funny, especially in all capitals. So that's where Duck came from. And I use that for most games. For online games, I think I use the name Chutney Wiggles a lot because
So it's not
That's
what you use.
silly
I mean,
words.
it's very silly. But she's saying why? Like, why don't you just, when you have more characters, why don't you just use Isaac or
Because
Izzy?
just because I am used to the name Duck.
Okay, but like for chutney, whatever, like that's not duck. So why
That's
did you do that?
silly, and also for like that's specifically for online games, where I want a level of anonymity. I don't
Yeah.
want to be running around World of Warcraft being Isaac, and then
Well, that's fair.
hackers find my IP because I was rude to them in game or like took the piece of loot they wanted. No, 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 no,
I mean,
thank you.
couldn't they find your IP even if your name wasn't Isaac?
Yeah, they absolutely could.
Yeah. Okay.
Still, though, I'm not gonna use my real name in online games.
Well, I will say that yeah, I think that's also why I don't do it. I think just like growing up in the like late 90s, early 2000s, you're like instilled with like don't use any real things on the internet, which is I think different these days. I mean, it's even different like when I went to high school, they're like, no, you should have an email that is your name. That looks professional. But when I like anything I would make, I always like I might work in parts of my name, but I was like, well, I can't say my whole name. And I think also there's this like level of escapism too, where like both
Yeah,
escapism and like protection almost like okay, so for Sims, I try never to name my Sims after people I know in real life. Now, obviously there's only so many names out there, so like yeah, that's gonna happen, but I try not to. And if even if they do, I don't want them to link too closely to people I know in real life because I almost feel like there's like this like karma situation or like like something bad happens to the sim named after my best friend, like what does that say? Like is that bad luck for them? I'm a little bit of a superstitious person, so it's like I don't want to put myself in danger, I guess.
right.
Like
That makes sense to me. That makes perfect sense to me.
I want a separation between like who I am and like the player. So yeah, so that's the reason. Thanks for asking, Meghana. Meghana also had some words for our rapid fire, so we'll bring that back around at rapid fire. But I thought this would be a good time to discuss our game names.
Okay.
But anyway, so do you have a pitch for us today?
Yes. Listener Larry has sent me this pitch, and I will say ahead of time, this is kind of vague and it leaves a lot to the mind to fill in the gaps. Uh,
Okay.
I have a very clear picture of what this means. Like I have designed an entire game based on this pitch in my head, but for someone who's less of gamer brain than me, it might be problematic, but not problematic, but
Well,
you
we'll
might have a
find
problem
out.
picturing this. But here's the pitch from Larry. A strategy RPG with Skellebones, Burning Bones, and Dudes, but you control Seguin, Blortoise, and Aquamouse.
What?
See, that's I so a
Wait, wait,
strategy
wait,
R
wait, wait, wait. Is this like Bunny is you?
no, no. So that would
No.
be a puzzle game. So a strategy RPG, strategy role-playing game would be I'm trying to think if I've played and well, it would be like the Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate Demon Hunters game that I played, but basically you have control of a squad of like soldiers, and the map is usually laid out in a grid. So it's a grid-based movement system. You control each soldier, move them into position, and then they shoot and stuff. Basically, imagine, if you will, and this is meaningless for everyone but Claire, but imagine Warcry with the grid we play, but as a video game. So
Um,
the idea is that where you manage like a little gang, and it seems like your specific characters are Seguin, which I imagine is like a little penguin dude, Blortoise, which I imagine is a little turtle dude, and Aquamouse is a little water mouse guy. So those are the characters that you control on this grid, and you have to fight a bunch of skeleton based enemies and dudes.
okay.
Is what this pitch is. And I will say, I like this idea. I like the evocative names I
Mhm.
know exactly what a skeleton is. I know exactly what a burning bones is. Less sure on what a dude is because that is such a generic phrase. And I will say I don't know what the C in Seguin stands for, but I like it. So thank you, listener Larry. Anyways, do you have a pitch for me, Claire?
Yeah. So you're just gonna pitch listener Larry's pitch. You're not.
Oh no, I've got my own pitch afterwards. Don't
Oh,
worry, it's a
okay.
short pitch.
That's fine. All right. I just wasn't sure. But yes, I do have a pitch for you. So I have teased this as incredibly unhinged
I
and
can't wait.
potentially offensive.
Oh,
So I don't know. I've been thinking about the Bible lately.
this is a great way to start a pitch. This is an amazing way to start a pitch.
Just, we listen to one of our favorite podcasts, Oh No, Ross and Carrie. They often talk about like Bible stuff. We were thinking about the Veggie Tales, as one does. And I was thinking my favorite Bible. So I took a Bible class in college that was called History of the Bible. So it was kind of analyzing biblical stories from like a historical context. Um, and I thought that was really fascinating. I really enjoyed that class.
Hmm.
One of the stories we talked about was Jesus and the fig tree. So I'm going to read it. So those of
Oh
us who
boy.
don't know, it's very short. This is the passage. So this one's from Mark 11:12. There's also a mention of it apparently in Matthew 21:18, but I had read the Mark one in class. So the next day, as they were leaving Bethany, Jesus was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. When he reached it, he found nothing but leaves because it was not the season for figs. Then he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard him say it. And then he does the whole like turns the tables on the capitalists. That's like right after that. And then they go back to the fig tree and it says, Peter remembered and said to Jesus, "Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered."
Okay. Yep. This is the what an okay. All right. I've
Yeah.
got no words for this. This
Yeah.
is
So
amazing.
yeah, basically Jesus is like mad that there's no figs on the fig tree. And he's like, "May you never bear fruit again." And then they see it later and they're like, "Oh yeah, that tree's very dead." Um, And so the website I found this on, because I do have a Bible, but I was like, I don't remember where this is. And I don't think it's going to be in the index. Maybe it would, I don't know. I think if I had remembered it was tied to like the like clearing out of the church of like all of the salesmen, then I could have found it, but I didn't remember that. So the website was saying that, oh well, the fig tree is like represents like kind of like the corruption happening in the land and that it's not like fruitful for the people. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but like in class, I we didn't talk about that. He just left it open. My teacher, he was just like, "What do you think?" And my theory, which he liked a lot, was pretty funny, was that Jesus, it's one of those like when you get powers in like a superhero show,
Yep.
but you don't know how to use them yet, like in Spider-Man, and like he sticks to everything. Like that's a really classic like Spider-Man. Oh no, like I feel like that to me is like Jesus discovering the power that he has, right? Like, oh
Oh, like
crap,
he
like
didn't
if
know he had powers and then he killed a fig tree.
right, like if he just says like some like, well, I guess like you should just go die then it's like, oh, that would
Uh-oh.
happen. That's kind of how I interpreted it. And I just think about it a lot because it is like it's kind of weird, and I think you're right. Like you're right. I think the website might be right that it's like this metaphor, but I don't know. I think it's funnier because this also is early on in like Jesus's like situation. So I just think it's funnier to imagine that he's just kind of like learning how powerful he can be.
Okay.
um, anyway, so that just brings us to the game. So I'm also going to bring in up Slender Man.
Oh my God.
Told you it was unhinged.
This
So,
this is completely unhinged. We've gone from Bible stories to Slender Man, and we're not even into the actual game pitch yet.
well,
Folks, this episode, that's why we took a 2-week break.
I feel like this is why I feel like this is my new style of game pitches where I just give a ton of backstory and then the game itself is really straightforward, but you needed the backstory to get it. So Slenderman, the game specifically, is what I'm thinking of, which you just like basically log on. For those of you who hadn't tried it back in the day when this was like what we were doing, is and you're like, I think it's just first person, right? So you don't
Yep.
see a character. Yeah, and you're just like running through the woods trying not to get caught by Slender Man, and there's like leaves crunching. It's very spooky sounding. And it's just how long basically you can last before you're caught by Slender Man. And there's no like, is there an indicator that Slender Man is coming, or is it just kind of luck?
I think there's a like kind of white noise sound
Oh, yeah, yep, you're
that
right.
starts
Okay.
playing, and it gets louder and louder and louder, and you're just supposed to run. And I think if you look at him, you lose too.
Yes, yep, that's definitely true. All right. Well, anyway, so basically now we're at the game pitch. It's that, but you're a fig tree and you're running away from Jesus.
Oh my God. You could not have prepared me for this. There is no way. Okay, all right.
And there'd be like opportunities like, oh, like you can hide in like a grove of orange trees and like hope you don't get noticed. And the idea, the timing is so like, because so I guess what stood out to me to the Bible passage that makes me think it's more Jesus being like a snotty teen versus like this huge metaphor is that, well, so in the passage I read, it says that figs were not in season, whereas in the other passage it doesn't. And the background on fig trees, I guess, is if it has leaves, usually it has fruit. So he could have assumed it would have fruit. But assuming that figs were just not in season, and taking that assumption from my original read, um, it's that like you have to run until your figs on your tree are there, and then he won't be mad at you, and he can just like get the figs he wants and go.
Okay. All
So you have
right.
to survive until your figs grow.
Okay. Do you move fast, or because you're a fig tree and you crawl around on little roots, are you moving pretty slow? Like,
I imagine it like hilariously, like you've got like picture a tree that's kind of like wobbling back and forth, like kind of like hopping.
okay, all right.
And then you could, like hide in like a grove of different trees or like behind things. I don't know. That's the game. I shouldn't think the less I say the better.
Yeah. Whew. Well, that's a game and a half. Okay. Incredible idea. Listeners, please don't email us and be angry at us. If you have to, tweet at us. Tweet at us. I don't think that this is. I'm just going to say, you said that it might be offensive. I don't think it's really offensive. This almost seems like a goofy youth pastor idea. Like there's nothing really offensive about it except for maybe the implication that Jesus is a petulant teenager, which I'm pretty sure as being a human and all teenagers being petulant, I'm pretty sure he has to have had that
He
phase.
also
And I
might
don't
not
think it's
have been.
offensive to say that.
I'm not sure if he was a teen. Like if Peter's in the story, he probably was like 30. I don't know.
Still, who has not had a moment wherein they approached a fig tree to find it was out of season and figless,
and it's just like,
and swore at it.
yeah.
I've done it.
I think metaphorically we all have. But yeah, I'm sorry, I forget where this lands in like the Jesus timeline. In my memory, it was when it was early on. But maybe I'm wrong because I'm like, well, he didn't have disciples when he was a teenager. So,
well, I give it a 3 out of 10 offensiveness.
Okay. Yeah, I think if you're like, I think it's fine. Also, the fact that like you wouldn't even really see Jesus, like it's not like I'm depicting him in a video game. Because you have to, if you do, then you're out.
Oh yeah, because he's caught you. He's gotten to you.
It does give vibes of like youth pastor being like, well, the kids love Slender Man, but we can't play that at church. So,
yeah, I mean, we could make this game and sell it to churches, and I think that they would buy it. I think
and then
that
you
they
could
would
have a discussion about metaphor in the Bible and what this could mean and the power of God and whatever.
Just helps everyone.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the game. Oh, I just realized I didn't name it. Oh, geez. What is this good? Oh. I feel like there's got to be a good fig pun, right?
Figgy Jesus.
No.
It's not a good.
Like
it's not
figment of the imagination, but that's not. That has nothing to do with the game. It's just a pun. Well, anyway, we're gonna leave that one. If listeners, if you have an idea for the name of this game, do write in. Do email us. Do tweet at us. But Isaac, you said you had a pitch for us. What is your pitch?
I do. I have a game called Regenerator, which is a high difficulty
So it's about
timed platformer.
Jesus bringing
No,
back people.
no,
No,
there's
okay. No
no
Jesus. All
Bible.
right. All right.
No. So the idea is basically your goal is to get through each level as fast as possible. And in order to do so, you must destroy yourself on obstacles and then regenerate from one of the bits. So it's going to be cartoonishly gory. Like a saw trap will send giblets all over the place, and then you can pick one of those giblets to regenerate from, because you are a being that does not get harmed by these things. You just grow back almost instantaneously. So
can I say something?
Yes.
That I'm making a connection with, which is a buck wild connection. But so I like this a lot already, even though it's gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
What it reminds me of is my improv friends out there. Do you know the game Freeze? Basically, like people do a scene and then someone else who's not in the scene says freeze. And people have to freeze in the position they're in. And then the other person has to take over for someone else in that same position, but like continue the scene in a different way.
Okay.
And this just feels like that, but like gory. And I like it.
Sort of.
You have to like pick which bit you're like regenerating from, and then you like start from there.
Yes, pretty much. So like,
I don't know. That's just what it feels like to me.
The idea is that like depending on the angle or the timing that you hit an obstacle, it'll like affect your giblets, I'll call them, in different ways. So like if you get flattened by an obstacle, you're not a lot of you is going to spread very far, so like that will just slow you down. But if you hit like a saw blade, that'll send stuff all over the place, so you'll have a lot of options, and you'll be able to control based on like the angle that you hit the saw blade. The physics simulation will shoot you to the same place every single time if you hit it at the same time. So you can kind of deterministically figure out like, oh, if I jump into it from above, a giblet will drop down below, and then that will, if I regenerate from there, I save 3 seconds, and that will allow me to complete the level in time. And then so the interest of it will be all these different obstacles that like destroy you. I don't want to say kill, because you obviously come out of it completely unharmed despite the goriness. But the obstacles destroy your bodies in various ways, and you have to learn how to manipulate that destruction in such a way to further your own goals. So, and then there, like I mentioned with the flattening thing, there might be some obstacles which are just purely obstacles that don't give you any benefit at all. So you have to like learn which ones to avoid, which ones to take advantage of. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my game idea. Regenerator, high difficulty timed platformer where you are a immortal being that can regenerate from little bits of yourself. So you throw yourself onto saw blades to get rocketed over walls.
I don't know. I think this is kind of cool.
I know. I started typing it down and I was like, this is actually like a legitimately good
I think we
idea.
I think regenerator, we gotta go regenerator TM.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, so actually you can't make that one. Please do make the one I just made up, because I won't ever make that, but I will play it.
Yeah. Okay. You heard it, folks. Go make that game.
We don't have a name for it yet, but you can make it. All right. Well, that was great. Thank you for that gory yet fun sounding adventure. You know what time it is, though?
Is it time for rapid fire round?
It is time for the rapid fire round.
Ooh,
so I think we'll still do 3, but we'll start with listener Meghana's 3 words.
Yes.
So the first 3 words, which were sent in, thank you, listener Meghana, are, I have to find them in the email.
Oop, I will okay.
All right, ready? I'm ready.
Yes.
All right. Bus.
Bus.
Rainbow.
Rainbow bus.
And dance.
Dance. Bus, rainbow, dance. I don't want to encourage unsafe party habits, but I do think that This is a game where you are a party bus and you
Uh-huh.
have to drive around and pick up the party members.
Okay, okay. So like you're the bus driver, you're not partying on
You're
the
the
bus.
bus driver. So like
I'm wondering if
you
like the more people you can get on the bus, maybe your bus becomes kind of like in a neon cat kind of like there's a like the rainbow, like the bus intensifies.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So it gets faster and faster and um okay, yes, I like this. So all right. So it starts off you have an arranged appointment. So like obviously it takes place in a city or maybe there's multiple city maps. Each level might be its own section of a city
Hmm.
or a
Hmm.
completely different city. You get a call from someone who wants to schedule time on the party bus and then you have to go pick them up and then they give you a list of all the invited people and you have to drive around the city getting faster and faster as people dance and get more pumped up. You have to pick up all of the people that are invited to the party
Yeah. And I
and
think
then before the party is over.
and
So it's
if you get
timed.
everyone, I think if you get everyone, then like you win that level.
Yeah.
And if but like you know like say you like because you're gonna go faster and faster, which makes it more difficult to control. So like if you like hit like objects in the road, then like maybe people like fall out of the bus. And so you like
Oh,
lose
yes.
momentum. And like if you know like if it's like not a good ride or like you miss someone's house and so like it's timed but also you can like lose passengers, you have to like go get them, things like that.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking like if you full on crash into something, which becomes more likely the faster and faster
Right.
you go, it throws people around and it ruins their party. So like in addition to the timer, you'll also have the party rating. So every time you crash, the party rating goes down. So you have to beat the timer, pick up all the guests, and keep the party rating
Yeah.
above a certain point because if it hits zero, you obviously lose. You don't get your money for that
Yeah. No, I
booking.
think and then so money would probably be the scoring method of like you beat the level, like how much did you make? Because you'd like make more if it the party like the party rating was higher, right? So like maybe you picked
Yes.
everyone up, but the party was terrible.
And
So
then uh part of the game can also be there are certain locations that give you like a party boost that like they're
mm-hmm.
not asked for, but if you know where they are and you know
Yeah.
how to
Or like
path there, like ice cream.
in the same way there should be ones that are like a party down, like it's
Oh, if you
like a
drive past,
dumpster.
yeah, okay, I like it. Yeah, you drive past like a crime scene or a dumpster.
Yeah.
That also makes the party go down, but you can get the party above 100% if you like drive by the ice cream place or like a tourist trap, but also like they're a little hidden or out of the way.
Or
So
like a tourist trap might be more difficult to navigate, like you're more likely to hit things. Like,
yeah, so it's like
so
a
is it worth
cost
it?
effect.
Yeah.
Yes. All
All right.
right.
Well, I like this. This is great. So what are we? I mean, I feel like Party Bus is like the most accurate title.
Yeah, yeah, I think just party bus.
Okay. All right,
Boom.
Party Bus it is. Well, thank you,
1 minute
listener Meghana.
left. Oh, sorry.
That was it.
Yep.
But
Thank you, Meghana.
time for our actual random words. Are you ready
Yes.
with the timer? Oh boy. All right. Aloof,
Aloof,
explosion,
explosion,
and wind.
wind. Okay, so I had an idea on the first two words and I don't know how to pull it in with a third word. So I'm going to
Okay.
say my idea of the first two words.
Sure.
So you are a person who has to keep the cat happy. The cat is aloof. You have to basically avoid doing anything the cat finds annoying or else the cat explodes.
Okay, wait. So, sorry, can you say it again?
So you are a person
Yeah.
who has to navigate their house, perform a list of like tasks
Okay.
without annoying the cat,
Yes.
because if you do annoy the cat, it explodes.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, no, I'm down.
I don't know where wind comes into this.
I mean, I also don't love that like the cat explodes like that means the cat would be dead.
Well, actually, here's the funny part. This cat is the regenerator.
Well, can we just what if you explode? Like the cat like laser eyes you and you explode.
Oh, that'll be fine.
How about
Yeah,
that?
if you make the cat angry, the cat laser eyes you and explodes.
Yeah.
And you explode. Okay. I just thought it would be funny if the cat was like a
I do.
literal time
So
bomb,
like I
but
do think that's funny, but I also just like cannot. I just can't. I just can't.
okay, fair,
I don't
fair,
know. I
fair.
just
All
got to
right.
keep the cat alive. Because I think I guess this goes too deep maybe, but like I feel like cats are just used as the butt of the joke in so many things for like, the cat sound like "Meow," like
Oh
stepping on a
yeah.
tail or like throwing out a window and it's like that's not.
Okay, fair.
All right. So we just have to work wind into it. Maybe your house is windy and it makes it even more challenging. I don't know.
Maybe.
What
Yeah.
other definitions of wind can we use? I was like,
Ooh, let
I
me
mean,
pull it up.
like not to be crass, but farts, like passing
I
wind.
was also thinking that, but
But how does that work?
oh, it could be whined.
Oh, you're right.
Because
Wind.
this already fits in because
Yeah.
wind um through the house because you have to like wind around
Yeah.
the cat because it'll sit in a specific
You're
place
kind
and
of
if you
wound
step on
up,
it,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um
I think it's fine. I think we already did it. I
there
think we worked it in.
there's also the definition detect the presence of a person or animal by scent. The birds could not have seen us or winded us, which also fits in because you're
Have
trying
never heard
to
that before, but you know
I
what?
haven't either.
Gonna take it. Gonna take it. Thank you, dictionary.com. All right. Yeah, so I think that's the game then.
All right. Boom. Got
I
it.
mean,
Nailed
well,
it.
we have to name it.
Oh shoot. Um
An exploding kittens is taken.
oh geez. Okay. Hold on. All right. So you have to avoid the aloof cat so that you can accomplish household chores.
Um,
Um
pause, pause, per, perfect.
I mean, so there's this game like keep talking and nobody explodes or
Oh, yeah,
something. And I'm trying to think of that uh
yeah,
keep keep the cat happy and nobody explodes. I don't know.
sure. All right, yeah.
Oh, all right, boom. A minute and 20 seconds left. Keep talking or
Keep the
keep
cat
the cat
happy
happy and
and
nobody
nobody
explodes.
explodes. Beautiful. How come we could say that in better unison than we can say make that game?
Because we weren't trying and everything's easier when you aren't trying.
All right, well, here's our next three words.
Okay.
Level.
Okay. Easy. Video games are full of
Presence.
levels.
That's
Presents
true.
as in Christmas presents or his presence.
Like his presence.
So Presence.
Yes.
Okay. Cool, 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 cool.
And novel.
Novel level presence.
Mm-hmm. Now I hear presence, I immediately want to go to ghosts. You know we love our ghost games
We
here
do love our
on
ghost
that
games.
game.
Novel does not necessarily need to be a book. It could
Correct.
be novel as in like new or interesting. So just as before we go to look up the dictionary definitions of other words to use, because I feel like that's going to be the hardest one. Presence. So we have a ghost.
Okay, wait, whoa. Because level, you're right, it's easy. You're either like level jumping or there's just levels in the game. I'm not worried about that. What if you're a ghost writer? You're a
Okay.
ghost writer. I don't know how
A
that's a game.
literal ghost?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All
Maybe you
right.
possess people. You're like a muse.
Okay. So here's the idea.
Okay.
You live in someone's house.
Yeah.
That person is a struggling author.
Okay.
And you have to inspire their work by bringing household objects and like putting them in like on their desk or something or
Okay.
so like you the gameplay would be you as a ghost peek at what they're currently writing and they'll have like blanks where they need to fill in or there will be some specific goal and then you have to figure out which household objects you can use to communicate an idea to this author, which I don't know exactly how that works out like from a gameplay programming perspective, but like if you put a candle, a letter opener, and well, let's just say you put a candle in a letter opener, that might inspire the author to write something about battling a fire elemental.
Well, yeah, and I think I mean, I guess like you said, there'd be like some kind of genre you'd already know what was happening.
Yeah, I'm thinking that
And
there's a specific, so I think that it would just be a fill in the blanks kind of thing,
yeah,
but you
but
have to get kind of creative with filling in those
yeah.
blanks.
And then levels would be more like, so like, your first book would probably be easier, but then like if you get a book deal, you have to like replicate the success. And if you can, and so like each new book is like a harder challenge to figure out what to write. And then, if you fail, then you fail, and then you play a different house.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's so it's called.
I I'm trying to think of how to make it. Well, no, yeah, because Ghost Rider is too simple and also
Yeah.
a kids show from the
And
90s.
also a Nicolas Cage film.
Oh,
Well,
geez,
that's
yeah.
Ghost Rider, but
Oh,
close
yes.
enough. Or is it right? Rider.
It's Ghost Rider.
It's
Yeah.
Rider. Rider? Rider.
Rider.
Light? Light. Light. All right. So we could call it publishing.
No,
No. No.
no, no.
Um,
Okay, this is really dumb, but I'm gonna put it out there.
yeah.
Writergeist.
Like poltergeist.
Like poltergeist, but also since geist like means ghost, it would be writer ghost, which
Does
is
geist
ghost
mean
writer.
ghost?
I'm pretty sure geist means ghost.
Okay. I'm just thinking like zeitgeist does not mean ghost. That's a totally different
Geist, the
word.
spirit of an individual or group. So zeitgeist is about the group thought slash.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Grammar Town. The
So
segment
zeitgeist,
within
the
a segment.
defining spirit or mood of a particular period of history is shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time. So yeah, it does mean spirit, just in a slightly different connotation than we're used to.
Okay. All right. Writergeist
We
it is. I'll accept it.
Writergeist. Send
We
it.
did it.
15 seconds left.
Wow. That was that. All right. Well, we did it though. We did it. So that's our episode. We're really sorry we had to miss last week. We'll try not to miss again or record some backups in case we need to miss again. But
Yes.
thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for listening. And if you want to find us on social media, you can tweet at us at Make That Game Pod. You can find us on Instagram at Make That Game Pod. You can email us and get your message potentially read here on air at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. So if you heard a game that you really liked and you're inspired, we encourage you to go on home and make that game.